Hello, and welcome to Dragon God Breaks Down the MH World Weapons trailers. I plan on playing a lot of this game in the future when it's released. Let it be known before this video begins, though, that I am not new to this game. I am very seasoned in it, and as such will assist as many people as I can in the recruitment of new and old hunters alike. Let us begin, because there is 14 weapon types in this game. All of them can be switched to at any time, but you'll probably want to main only a couple so you don't end up broker than my parents' relationship. Apologies in advance if I sound too salty right now. I just got back from mowing the lawn after subsequently taking out the riding mower, moving a washing machine, and then realizing it doesn't work, and spending about 30 minutes in the hot sun trying to figure out why. All to go back and use the push mower anyway. And isn't it just peachy that I sprained my foot 2 days ago? How nice. Starting off with the weapon that's showcased on the majority of the games and subsequently is shown in many anime you see, the greatsword, your average anime pretty boy weapon. Enormous size to compensate for something that he or she is lacking, whether that be personality or size for both genders. The greatsword is slow, and it's not a weapon you should be keeping unsheathed unless the monster is close enough to you that you might get PETA called on you. What exactly for? I'll leave that up to your imagination, and Rule 34 respectively. Remember that you should always charge your weapon to full when able to. It does a load of damage, and can stun a lot of monsters, and leave them wide open for other attacks from your teammates or yourself. This greatsword is a very good weapon for those that are new to Monster Hunter, but also want something that hits and stuns quite well. In fact, it was my main in Monster Hunter Tri. If there's a weapon that makes you feel slower than a dead turtle, but at the same time strong enough to shatter a walnut with your biceps, it's the hammer. The hammer is slow, like the greatsword, but it swings back such a good stun rate and punch to it that it should probably have its own witness protection program against it. Bludgeoning the monster into a stump that even meds can't fix is your MO, and you should always try to smash the creature like your Ron, if she were Becky. They added this new attack, it seems, where the term bullying comes to mind, but seeing as how the sound of this thing makes it sound like you're breaking watermelons, I'll forgive you for not realizing. The lance is a weapon made for the uncles that like poking areas instead of swiping them. This weapon type has good defense, and a backstep instead of a full evade that will either leave you unfazed from the attack that just met you, or picking yourself off the ground trying to remember why you're doing this to yourself, and where it went all wrong. What, no pointers for this weapon? No pun intended. Try this simple trick. If the monster's close, poke it. If the monster's far, charge and poke it. You might have varying success when it comes to connecting with these two types of attacks, and that's okay, because you're kinda supposed to be turtling this weapon anyway, holding your shield up and just waiting for the monster to come to you. Patience is a virtue, and some people don't have it. But I promise you that if these two things don't work, it's okay, there's an uninstall button. The gun lance. The gun lance is a weapon for people that like to watch the world burn. It has a sophisticated style of poking like the normal lance, but now has the added effect of causing explosions that blast away everyone on your team and not the monster for some reason. Many arguments have been caused in this game series by this weapon because someone just got blown away and got up just in time to be neatly placed back on their knees getting carted back to camp. Powerful this thing is, multiple types of shot, none of which, however, give this thing the distance you'd expect. So just because it says long on the shot type doesn't mean you're Tyrone and can take the monsters like someone's wife. Talk about dead memes, and soon to be dead teammates you just blasted on a silver platter in front of the monster. Thank you, gun lancers. Want to stagger your friends to the point of getting them killed and causing rage? Pick heavy bowgun. Actually, pick any bowgun now that I think about it. Ironically, one of the more mutually annoying instances in this game is shooting a teammate. They obscure your vision so they can deflect your shots. At the same time, your teammate is now staring at the ground because he needed to heal and got staggered by you and subsequently KO'd by a bite or claw attack. It's a bonding moment between teammates and friends. Both are feeling the same thing towards each other right now. Sword and shield. This weapon has a bad habit of falling into the "it's too noob for me" category, but it's actually quite a useful weapon, provided that you are either new, don't like sheathing your weapon, or have a fear of sheathing your weapon. See, you do not need to put your weapon away while a monster is present, period. If you're poisoned, keep it drawn. If you're low on health, keep it drawn. If you're being invited to a college reunion, keep it drawn. Why? You can use most items while you have your weapon out. And because of this, Sword and Shield has a better panic button than a rape whistle. Ironically, it's effectively the same thing when the monster starts to eye you up, thinking you're an unfilled donut that might need some new filling. If you don't get that joke, you're probably too young for this. I actually never really used Sword and Shield even when I first started out in Monster Hunter, but it is a very good beginner weapon. It has decent combos, and it does good status element damage like paralyze, poison, and sleep, so hey, you can take the place of the monster in this case and put it to sleep for happy fun times. If there was ever a weapon that makes you look and feel like Levi slicing through the napes of giant humanoids, or in this case, giant monsters, it's the dual blades. This weapon is always fun to spam, and even better to stag your friends so they can't play the game. Noticing a recurring theme now. If there's one thing that is imperative you learn, it's that Jazz Juice is your crack, and this is a habit you should definitely indulge. You never run out of Demon Mode gauge, which is the mode you should always be in while using this weapon. Once in this mode, press 2 attack buttons at the same time, and give Freddy Krueger wet dreams. Just remember, while dishing out that animal cruelty, that you can't block, and don't worry, if you don't remember this, the game will surely remind you, by giving you a very good understanding of what it's like to be a tumbleweed. The longsword was my main in Freedom Unite, and will always have a very special place in my heart. Longsword is like greatsword, but stuns half as much and leaves you open half as less. There's something to be said about a LS user who knows what they're doing though. Seeing red should always be your sight you seek, and Spirit Combo Slash should be your artificer to get that beat. Just remember, a good longsword user knows when to dodge and sheath. A bad one spams his way into the monster's teeth. You should know that unless your evade timing is decent or better, your enjoyment with this weapon may be significantly reduced with the amount of head trauma you receive from repeated bludgeoning of monster attacks. Oh, and another thing. Just because this weapon says long in the name doesn't mean that you can reach the stratosphere. Keep that in mind unless you're using this attack. The light bowgun is like heavy bowgun, except it doesn't make you feel like 3/5 of America's population while using it. If you like shooting things and you're coming off of a third-person shooter, of any game most likely, choose this weapon if you want a ranged weapon. You generally want to be somewhat close to the creature, not like you're taking it out to dinner or something, but more like you want to still stay on the call me list. Don't worry, the monster won't touch your bum, as long as you're semi-aware of your surroundings, and the melee people keep smacking the monster's bum to keep its attention. There's not much to know about light bowgun, other than you just have various ammo types, like the heavy bowgun of sorts. And if you can't evade, don't worry, I hear hunters get wonderful meta carry. The switch axe is something that swings with the grace of a drunken axeman, while simultaneously being one of the most reliable second form spam one button weapons in the game. It is a weapon that I never really dabbled in until for you myself, and have since come to know as good if you can dodge, and ass if you can't be bothered. There's something to be said about this weapon, considering quite a few weapons are like this. You know, if you can't evade, you're going to have a very harmful relationship with it. In any case, the switch axe has two forms, an axe and a sword mode, no figure. There is two attacks for this weapon. One is an axe mode, which is a chop until you run out of stamina, and the other one is a sword attack where you just spam one button until your gauge dies with your confidence. Switch axe has gotten faster in the new Monster Hunters, to the point where the camera can't even catch up apparently. You'll be happy to know though, that it's probably just as jarring for the monster. At least you two get a bonding moment. Ah, the Charge Blade, my personal favorite and main in most of the recent games. If there's a weapon I wouldn't put past someone saying is broken, it'd be this one, albeit it's been considerably and noticeably nerfed to compensate for everyone else's small prostates. I'm joking, of course. Everyone knows that greatsword users have the smallest. It has a sword mode, an axe mode. You can only charge your files in sword and shield mode, but since you can switch between these modes faster than teenagers' attitudes, you should never run into the problem of not being able to charge your files. Anyways, always charge your file to full and burst cancel from axe mode into your shield. You get a red shield and break the game since you get almost lance level blocking and stability. Then master the pro tactic of burst cancels and file axe swings, and you win the game. It sounds easy, but can actually be kind of difficult if you don't know what you're doing, especially with the burst canceling. This is not a beginner weapon. In fact, all the technical weapons are not really beginner weapons, which isn't to say don't try them. Just remember, it's like the Kama Sutra. They all have gimmicks to them and might require more than a few times to be successful. Kinsect, or Insect Glaive, is like a bow staff that acts as a jetpack. Aerial combat is the name of the game here, flipping in the air like a Romanian acrobat on speed, catching whatever slice you can as you skirt back and forth in the air. Don't call the exterminator here, this bug's not here to hurt you. It's here to bring you freshly extracted nectar from an organic creature. This is a slow build-up weapon, is what you should say in bed, and that becomes more powerful the more essence you take from the monster's flesh, which also happens to be how I get my vitamins in the morning. You'll want to make sure you prolong whatever orange-white, red-white combination you get first before adding the last color. Psst, if it starts to blink 2 colors, grab the color you don't have. If all of them are flashing, prepare to come off that high like it's 1995, or don't and crash real bad. You ever wonder what it'd be like to take a musical instrument and bash it repeatedly into someone's head? It can make various different sounds depending on the hollowness of the instrument. Hunting horn is for those people who want to play support along with shredding some notes at the same time. Nowhere near as slow as the hammer and still has the stopping power of the greatsword, but with bludgeoning damage instead of cutting. But what you should be focusing on is hitting them notes like your Rick Roll and buffing your team. If you want to be the most loved player on your team, play Hunting Horn. You want to always be wanted, play Hunting Horn. Because they might have the flash, but you have the songs, and they last a lot longer. And the final weapon, ironically the weapon I use the least. The bow is a weapon that requires some level of leading your shot, is something users of this weapon tell me. I myself struggle with this, and therefore have only used this weapon to cheese encounters, where the monster is as docile as a drugged feline. See, the bow is like bowgun, except it's not a gun, and requires stamina to use and draw your arrows. Funnily enough, I actually used this weapon before I used the dual blades, and where I first became hooked on the drug known as dash juice. Because I didn't realize you can actually get this from other dragons, and I only realized you could get it from Guy Pearsos at that time, I almost genocided the entire species just because of it. Dark times, dark times. Because actively dodging without Bushido or evasion is like asking to get punished for how close you need to be to do critical distance damage generally, this is a weapon you can find yourself either loving or hating with a burning passion. That's going to do it for the 14 weapons here. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification button so you can stay posted on the latest things I upload. And don't forget to leave me feedback on what weapon you think you'll main in this game. I know for me it's probably going to be longsword, charge blade, and light bowgun for me for the first playthrough, but I imagine I'll probably branch out as I get more funds in the game. Anyways, thank you for watching. This is Dragon God, and I will see you in the next video.